And it says we're live.
So let's hope that's true.
I'm hoping. Refresh this here to find out. Oh my god, the cats have been like driving me insane all day. So as soon as we're live, let us know. There it goes.
Yay, it's working.
All right.
Oh, so many technical issues.
Yeah, that's life. Welcome to BFF.
Yes, a show based off of Fan Friction,
Mhm.
which is a movie debate show. And we are typically the fact checkers for that show, but lately we have not been fact checking because we've had issues.
Between hurricanes and weddings, we have had to shirk our duties as of late.
Yes.
But here we are.
Yes, here we are. And trying out some new things on this episode of BFF, where there were quite a few options for this episode, despite the fact that we didn't fact check. So let me try to show you those options. Let's see if things are working. Oh, fun.
Life.
No, I don't want to update now. This is the part of the show where you talk amongst yourselves. Give you a topic. So hopefully screen share is working. Because I don't know.
So these were what we could have watched.
Yeah, we could have watched Bad Boys 2 or The Equalizer.
I've never seen either of those.
And then Joe had seen Blade and Good Will Hunting.
Hunting.
You told me you did.
I know, but it's been like forever.
Okay, I don't know if our screen share worked. We're having so many.
We're trying new things.
So many
it's fun.
references, and Tom is asking if that is a church lady reference. That is a coffee talk reference.
I know.
And then now it seems like my thing has disappeared.
Curious.
That is weird. So I think of the Google Hangouts do not like me.
Sorry.
So we will just try that again in a few minutes.
We practiced earlier too to try and see if we could figure it out. It's not working.
Anyway, before everybody leaves.
Yeah.
So Harlem Nights was the one thing that we hadn't seen that was also not behind a paywall, but it was behind Hulu, and we already have Hulu.
It was behind a paywall we're already paying for. We basically wouldn't have to individually rent it or purchase it or whatever.
So it was kind of like, well, that's the default movie.
Yeah.
And we watched the trailer, at least I remember watching the trailer, and it looked pretty cute. Like, it'd be kind of funny and interesting. I love Eddie Murphy and Richard Pryor and Red Fox. So I was actually kind of excited to see this.
Also, it's got crime lords in the movie. The guy who is the head of the studio in Barton and Fink, and he's in all sorts of other Coen Brother movies.
Yeah, and then Danny Aiello's in this. So it was, definitely something that I was excited to see. So let's just go into our thoughts on Harlem Nights. What do you think?
It's fine. Yeah, it's fine. Like, it's not great, but I enjoyed what I watched. There were a few moments I felt like a live studio ostrich, where they would crack a joke and I'd just be like, ha. Exactly.
See,
cats get it.
The cats. If y'all could just not do that, that would be awesome. Yeah. This is the fun that we always have.
This has been our weeks.
Anyway, I also thought the movie was fine. The plot, I thought, got a little convoluted.
A lot convoluted.
Where it was that their club down because of the mob, but they're going to try to do this thing with this fight, and then there was a thing with the bank, and I was confused.
As best I could tell, they were going to set up a bet for the fight. All the money would be, like, they're basically going to put a large sum of money in there and kind of prompt some of the other crime families or the other crime family in this movie to also put all their money there, because they're like, oh, well, maybe they're paying to fix the fight and we'll benefit
Yeah,
from paying to fix the
basically,
fight.
yeah, conning them.
And then they're going to rob the money, basically steal all the money that was in the said bank, and Atticus is interrupting our show like you do.
So yeah, the movie was very like dry, like more dry than I thought it would be. It was like I thought it would be more hilarious. I mean, you have Richard Pryor.
Everyone is very deadpan delivering, very just straightforward, straight-laced delivery. Which some of the jokes land and they're funny.
The most hilarious part to me was the very beginning. So it's like Richard Pryor's character Sugar Ray.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that's a reference to the athlete Sugar Ray Leonard.
Maybe.
Probably a pun on that. And he's running this illegal gambling establishment, and you can tell it's very like your basement or whatever. It's not like a big fancy place yet. It's in the early 1918, and they're running a craps game, and like Red Fox is there. He's a part of it. Boy, that's his errand boy, like comes to give him like his cigarette order, and like this one guy gets super upset that this kid is here. Kids are bad luck, and it's like, you can't talk to my friend that way. Like, he's a good kid.
It's like 4 minutes about how kids are bad luck for this guy, and Richard Pryor's like, that doesn't matter, man, just make your roll.
Yeah, like, this is my club. You don't get to come into my club and tell me what to do. And the guy rolls and he gets craps, so like he loses all of his money, and so then he's like, I'm gonna rob all of y'all in this place.
Yeah.
And you can see that there's a gun underneath the, and Richard Pryor's character Sugar is going for it, but then he can't feel it. He's like, oh no, like, where'd my gun go? And then like this kid just like shoots the guy
in the head.
And he, like, his nickname ends up being Quick, and he's the one that grows up to be Eddie Murphy's character. And like, he's just like the sassiest child. Like, I don't care. Like, my dad's dead. Like, okay, what about your mom? Like, she's dead too. Where are you living? I don't live anywhere. Like,
yeah.
Okay, well, you can come live with me.
Yep.
And so, yeah, he serves as his surrogate father. Yeah, like, it's cast great. Like, Della Reese is in it. She plays Vera, who is the I guess, for lack of a better term.
She deals in the sex trade of their business side, because they all work together. It's a criminal organization.
And yeah, she and Eddie Murphy actually have a pretty decent exchange where, like, he's accused her of swindling money because the girls aren't bringing it in.
They're coming up short somehow, whether she's stealing or whatever.
Yeah, even if it's like a packed night at the club, because now it's 20 years later and the place is like a big, like, legit looking casino, but it's not legit. Yeah. It's definitely on the underground and probably, paying hush money, that kind of thing, which is what the problem becomes later.
Yep.
It was really uneven, like, and I think it probably suffered from the fact that this is something that I read about, that like Eddie Murphy, this is like the only movie he's ever directed, and like he didn't care movie, like he cared about the project, but the actual day-to-day directing, he was just like worried about like, oh, where's the next party? And so he's done good things in other movies, but I guess he probably needs someone to like push him and give him advice, because he doesn't bring it. Richard Pryor, Red Fox, they're okay, but definitely not at the top of their game, because they're both hilarious too. Like, if you've never seen, first of all, any of his stand-up or any of Richard Pryor's other movies, and then Red Fox, who's, like, for people our age, is most known for being made fun of on In Living Color, for one, for not paying his taxes.
But he was from
Sanford and Son, which they played reruns from that on TV when we were kids, and
which is what I know him for.
Yeah, but being made fun of on In Living Color.
Yep. That's
like one of the, I think Jamie Foxx plays him. It's a hilarious skit.
I think my biggest issue though is like the movie, I don't even know how long the movie is.
It was long.
It felt longer than it probably was. I kept
looking up. It's like, this is still going on.
Yeah.
Like, how long is this? It felt like it was the better part of our afternoon just watching this movie. It was very slow and engage you very well. Like it just.
I'm still yawning from it.
Like, it was really cool. Like, the costumes were cool. I love seeing period pieces, and like Eddie Murphy apparently wanted to direct a period piece and to be in one, but like, if you don't like put in the effort, like in the actual directing. Like you just can't.
Well, in the movie,
actors need a director that's gonna like push them to give their best performance, and nobody has given their best performance in this movie, especially Eddie Murphy.
The movie also has this weird feeling like it wants to be a really serious period movie, and then there's this like comedy in there, and it's like it doesn't fit well, and that makes it feel so off kilter the whole time. It's just so, I don't know. There are parts of this movie that's good, and I can't really say this movie's bad. It
was just all right.
It's just there.
And apparently it's kind of like, it was really critically panned. Like if you go look at the Rotten Tomatoes score, which we all know has the asterisk by it, but it's really like low rated, definitely a lot of critics would not have liked this movie, but apparently it has a cult following now. So
Arsenio Hall always does a great job, Bill. And we should probably take a moment to recognize everybody in the chat.
Yeah, so let's say hi to everybody before we continue on with this.
We're here first. The first one. Tom was the first one. He wanted us all to know that. He was first. But Jeff, welcome, guys. We also have, I don't know who DDB44267 is, but welcome aboard. And then Kimber's here and Bill Carriola.
Yeah, thank you all for joining us, and I really like Arsenio Hall and Eddie Murphy, but like they're much better in Coming to America, which we'll talk a little bit about that movie in a few moments. Nice. DB44 to whatever says he's older than everybody here.
You had literally 2 numbers left.
I know, and I thought it was funnier if I just said whatever. No offense to your username, and thank you for being here.
Yes, we do appreciate it.
All right, I'm going to see if I can try to get screen share to work because I worked really hard on this PowerPoint. His name is David. Awesome.
Welcome, David.
We will refer to you as David. Let's see if screen share is working and not the Inception one.
Wow.
That will show you everything.
Okay.
I don't know why. Okay, I'm going to try one more thing.
Go back to it.
I'm going to go back to PowerPoint. Maybe if I take it. Ooh, it's probably because it's read only. This is the part where you discuss amongst yourselves. I will give you a topic.
The Franco-Prussian War was neither Franco nor Prussian. Discuss amongst yourselves. It was actually probably both of those.
I don't remember a lot about that one.
You can go to net info. Oh, never mind.
Tiblet is talking.
Just do desktop.
Side conversations. Now let's see if this will work. Thomas saying that David is the only person who watched our Wonder Woman review. That actually has like a lot of reviews.
I'm surprised it doesn't have more hate.
I know, right? Talk to people about Wonder Woman. Apparently everybody else had the same problems we do, but nobody said anything when the movie first came out.
Everybody was wrapped up in the afterglow.
Okay, don't know why this is not working.
Close it out real quick. Yeah.
And reopen it.
Yep.
Have you tried forcing an unexpected reboot?
Yeah, the hailing the cap. His lines were really good. The boxers was because it's like everybody was kind of getting tired of dealing with his stammering, but
yeah, that was so frustrating. I was rewatching the beginning of the movie earlier. Shouldn't have to update that now, hopefully. Mm-hmm. All right, let's try this again for the 14th time. All right. Let's see if this works. It says our screen is being shared. Our screen is still being shared. So again, this is the graphic we tried to show you earlier. What we actually watched, and I remember Brian said something funny on Twitter, or maybe it was in our chat because all those showrunners knew what we were watching. He's like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
This is the fight from the beginning of the movie. You see like Ray's place. It looks very underground.
Yes.
And then this is the
who had bad luck because of kids.
Of kids, and then I love his little outfit. It's so cute, his little tie.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is our young
Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, our young Eddie Murphy, played by Desi Arnaz the second, but not like related to the actual Desi Arnaz. They're spelled differently, but this kid was great, and he's been in quite a few other movies that I can't recall.
He reminds me of Tracy Jordan.
Yes.
And 30 Rock.
Yes, definitely.
Just a bunch of You're Not My Dads.
And then here's our 3 generations of comedians together. And that was our clue that we'll talk about in a little while. This was the only time the 3 of them ever worked together, and the only time that any 2 of them actually worked together. And this is Red Fox's last film. He was also in one more television series before he passed away. And this is one of the other characters that has kind of an important arc in this movie, albeit short-lived. This is I can't remember her first name, but LaRue is her last name. It's not. And
they make a point of being like, "Is that French?" And she's like "Creole."
I'm from Louisiana, played by, and now her name totally escapes me.
She was on A Different World.
Yeah, she's from A Different World, and her character was very affluent on that show. And just Jasmine Guy is her name. Very great actress.
Yes.
And
she always reminded me of the proto Hillary Banks from
definitely
Fresh Prince.
And then Quick has a little crush on her. She is the paramour of the big boss Calhoun from the rival gang. And she's been sent to spy on him, and that's where she meets her demise. Vera, played by the wonderful Della Reese.
Yep.
And this is, I think this is from the scene where she got into a fight with Eddie Murphy. And I know that was one of your scenes. You like.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it because it's like escalating levels of hilarity. It's almost like the crime movie equivalent of the Black Knight scene from Monty Python, where she keeps escalating the ante, and he's like, "Okay, I'm not going to hit you," or then he does hit her, and she's like, "Oh, you punched me," and he's like, "You've been telling me to."
Keeps making fun of him.
And then she pulls out a straight razor, and she's like, "I'm going to cut you, and you're going to have to shoot me in the foot, cutting you. What are you going to do? What are you going to do?" And then she shoots him in the foot. Or he shoots her in the foot and ends up being in the hospital and all sorts of other fun stuff. It was a hilarious scene.
Hilarious. Let's go ahead and we're going to stop the screen share for a moment. Go back to the show. So, final thoughts on this show. What did you, or this movie, what would you rate it out of, I guess, rate out of 10, right? I should know our own show premise.
It's like a 6. Yeah, I mean, it's not bad. It's decent. I don't know if I'd go back and necessarily watch it again, but I'm not going to turn it off if it happens to be on. That's kind of where I go with my stuff, is if it's not on, or if it's on, then whatever.
I would probably give it, I'm like torn, because it was, to me, it wasn't very funny.
No.
And it's supposed to be a comedy, although it's a, a dark humor comedy.
When it's funny, it's very funny. Very funny very often.
But I also wouldn't say like the movie was a total train wreck, even though the plot was convoluted. I think I'll probably end up giving it a 5 because it was just kind of very middle of the road. And, 5 is middle of the road.
It was fun.
Tom was giving us some advice that we could not see to say hit hide at the bottom. We'll do that next time. Right. Oh, and then Kimber apparently missed us, so I'm sorry. All of the little scenes. So we will move on to the fan friction part next. So now we're going to try screen share again because I put the question on there, hopefully. Unless I sent you the wrong thing. And our cat is having a conniption fit. All right, no, there's not Danny Aiello. That's the other guy.
Yeah. The
crime boss guy. All right. So now to the fan friction portion
of our show.
And this question was, what is the best film starring a stand-up comedian? And then if you actually watch the fan friction, it was inspired by Robin Williams, and so Brian was so excited that, you know, without even knowing that premise, that he chose Good Will Hunting.
Yeah, stumbled into Good Will Hunting for it, so to speak.
So it was, yeah, Robin Williams versus two different Eddie Murphys, and of course Joe C, who is from the show. I haven't seen that.
Also from meeting him in Philadelphia.
Exactly. He has Coming to America, and then of course Harlem Nights. And then that's the end of that. Right now you saw all of the other things. Still learning how to do all this screen share stuff.
Eventually we'll be very good at this.
Yes, but right now not.
Yeah, not so much. Yeah, we just watched the fan fiction today.
Yes, because we were gone yesterday.
And we had some notes.
Yeah, so Jay, who fought for Harlem Nights, said that, you know, he's a comedian himself, and so it was very difficult for him to choose like which movie to go with. And so I was kind of surprised that like maybe a different comedian or a different movie wasn't chosen, because like Harlem Nights is definitely like way off my radar, but obviously he was very passionate about it. Definitely had an extensive knowledge of what Eddie Murphy was going through career-wise when he was making this movie and before then, and the other comedians as well, of course, Richard Pryor and Red Fox. I think at one point, like, Joe had said that he didn't fall asleep during the movie, but then another time he did. So I don't know if that was just an audio issue, because this fan fiction was fraught with some technical difficulties, which is always unfortunate when you have a live show and you have technical difficulties.
And when you're crossing all of your contestants from across the country,
yeah,
it can add some extra hiccups.
And Joe had said that it was a mistake for Eddie Murphy to have directed the film, so he had done the same research that I did in the show.
I don't necessarily think it's a mistake that Eddie Murphy directed. I think it's a mistake that Eddie Murphy directed Unchaperoned.
Like maybe he needed some more guidance.
Yeah.
Murphy's acting was very wooden, and again, he needed some more direction.
The best Eddie Murphy part to me was when he was Miss LaRue. He finds her gun under her pillow, and he has this. He's like, "Oh, it's cute. We have so much in common." Then he talks about how it's a cute little baby gun. He's like, "Oh, he's so cute, beautiful gun." He like rubs the gun for everything, and then you see it like a wave wash over his face. He realizes why she has a gun under her pillow, and they're together in bed. A few moments later, there's the scene where she keeps reaching for the pillow, and he's just like, "Oh, but sweetheart," and that's like some of the best parts of this film. And like I said, film was as strongly directed as that, then I think it would have been a much better film.
Brian also had some things that chime in on this movie. He said that to find a worse reviewed movie by Eddie Murphy, you'd have to go with Pluto Nash.
But that's also like reaching for the low-hanging fruit there.
I mean, you got to do what you got to do when you have to fight. And he had also said, like, because Richard Pryor definitely, out of all of the comedians, had like a really strong performance, like he felt like he was the main character of the movie, like why not pick Richard Pryor instead? Yeah. And that's what I was thinking too when we were watching the movie. It's like, why would Eddie Murphy is like kind of a side character in his own movie. Richard Pryor is definitely the one that is the main guy. I mean, Eddie Murphy still does a lot, and they both do more than Red Fox does, but
yeah, but Red Fox is, for lack of a better term, in a comedy movie, the comic relief of that movie. Like he was the old man that needed glasses but refused to wear them, and that kind of thing.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. It's like, I can see fine. It's like, wear your glasses.
And when he got him to put the glasses on, if any of you have ever seen Trailer Park Boys, it
looked like that.
It was the Bubbles effect.
But overall, a very, well fought round. Joe ended up winning the point with his choice of Coming to America, which I love. Which that movie. I think out of all of those, I mean, I haven't seen Good Will Hunting, and so it's obviously a different caliber of performance, but
I feel, and not to besmirch Brian, I know what he was going for with this with Robin Williams. It's a very powerful movie, but I think if I wanted to go with the Robin Williams not being a comedian role, I would rather go with something like Dead Poets Society or 1 Hour Photo.
Yeah, I think that had been brought up in the chat for fan friction about 1 Hour Photo, or I remember hearing, I think, Kimber talk about that.
Good Morning Vietnam. These Robin Williams was in that were funny, but aren't necessarily, well, okay, 1 Hour Photo is not funny at all. But unless you have
creepy.
Yeah. But ones are movies where he is either funny or not funny, but they're not necessarily comedy movies. But he can still do a lot in those films. All of those movies mentioned are fantastic movies. So
and it didn't say it had to be a comedy movie, so I mean it was open.
Which I wasn't trying to fault Brian's choice for that, because that's like one of two ways you can go. You can either take a comedian and do a non-comedy movie with that comedian in it to show off their range and versatility. And Robin Williams was surprisingly adept at doing that kind of work. Or you take a comedy movie starring a comedian, and the other two choices were comedy movies starring comedians.
What was I gonna say? At least he didn't choose Bicentennial Man.
I like that movie.
It was so long,
but it's so hard to get through.
It is so. It's like I remember seeing that in the theater, like checking the watch, like, is this over yet?
I was just depressed the whole time.
Yeah, because it's so
that
sad.
Poor little robot just wants to be a person.
Yeah, there's probably a lot deeper reading you could do into that movie about rights and humanity and like what it is to be a person. But man, that is like a slog fest. Do you have a choice of who you would have chosen for this round? Are you well adept on your stand-up comedian turned actors?
The thing is, I'm not sure. But it's a matter of like, do I want to go with stand-up comedian as the primary role? Because I feel like Good Will Hunting has a good example that Robin Williams isn't the main character of that film.
Yeah, just any stand-up comedian that's in a film that you think is good.
I don't know. You go first.
I was thinking it's hard because like I know so many actors that are comedic, but it's more from sketch comedy, which is a different beast. But if I have to go stand-up comedian, I probably would have chosen Dana Carvey in Clean Slate. That movie, it's kind of like the comedic version of Memento, where he doesn't remember what happened, and he's trying to piece together his life in these little, like, he has this tape recorder that he keeps recording things on, and I want to say it's probably like mid to late 90s, before his career really took a turn south, when he did what was that, Master of Disguise? We saw that in the theater, and that was so horrible. But Clean Slate is hilarious. I think Sophie Marceau is in it as a character, and I can't remember the other actors, but yeah, he has memory problems, and he's trying to piece together like there was a big crime that happened, and it's really good. It's funny, but also there's some action elements to it as well.
Nice.
Oscars.
No problem.
But I liked it. Now I don't know if it holds up because I haven't seen it since the 90s.
And Spencer Gilbert hasn't told us if it does.
He didn't tell me, no. I didn't ask him, though.
I honestly don't know. I'm thinking of a few different ones. Like, one that comes to mind is the only thing that comes to mind is the 37 seconds that Bernie Mac is in Transformers. The very first one. And that's like the worst part about this is like, I'm like, we watch so much stand-up comedy actors that are they're in those that like I can't think of a single one. I really like
So you're not gonna go with any movies?
What would I go with for those movies?
No, he's in a Cars movie.
That's a digestible pile of turd.
I don't think Ron White's in any movies, is he?
I don't know. He's in one of the Sex and the City movies, apparently. Remember all the Cinema Snob stuff we've been watching?
He was in that?
I think he was. I don't know. No, not important. What is important is I think I may have one. Sarah Silverman was in Wreck-It Ralph, and I love Wreck-It Ralph. And I know she's done stand-up before.
Oh, yeah. She's,
And I also remembered Waiting. Waiting features a lot of people that do stand-up or did stand-up at one point. Primarily, the one that comes to mind is Dane Cook.
Yeah, he is in that.
But he is in that movie. And he's fun. He's fun in that movie. Hey, what the F did I do to you?
David says that Jamie Foxx and then his role in Ray, because Jamie Foxx was a stand-up comedian as well. That's actually his stage name. He made it sound like a girl name because girls would always get called up to go first. So he would like play the system. So that's pretty cool. So I guess let's go look at our Twitter responses to our lovely question. We talked about this earlier, but we basically we've been doing this thing since we can't reveal the fan fiction choices in advance. So we've been making not riddles, but just cryptic messages about them.
Basically, a collection of hints.
I never expected anybody to get this right, but it was, we said it was a comedy, so we gave you the genre. We said that crime plays a major role. There's like so many illegal things going on in this movie. It's not even funny. And then it features 3 generations of comedians. And like the first day, like nobody got anything right. And so like I retweeted it. And then like the 3rd or 4th comment was from Mac, Pool Tampa Buck fan 88 from the Game Fixers channel. And he's like, Harlem Nights, this is what it says. I was like,
he messaged me shortly after guessing, asking, did I get it right? And I'm like, you have to wait till Monday to find out. And he's like, tell me if I'm hot or cold. And I didn't reply to that. So
yeah, so,
like, what am I supposed to say?
Yeah, because he was right on the money. And then like Corey had said like, oh, wow, I haven't heard of that movie in a long time. And there was a lot of good guesses.
There were.
For that. So we're just going to pull that up on Twitter. If we were more prepared, we'd have it ready. I don't want to look at the other screen, though. You gonna pull it up on your phone?
I'm gonna pull it up on my phone.
All right.
Because I am Twitter adept.
You are. It's always good to be a ish.
Come on, geek to my nerd.
Yeah, a lot of people's guesses were very interesting, and I just kept laughing and just because it's like, okay, like I don't like it's like missing that like one thing, like everything else, like the first 2, like comedy and crime, everybody got, but everybody else's guesses. Not quite. All right, Randall Sands guessed Rat Race, but he wasn't sure about all of the criteria. I think I've seen Rat Race.
Yeah, some commentary on that.
And then Eric said that it did fit all the criteria. I don't know exactly who stars in that one, but if that's true, then that's a good guess.
Brought up whether or not there's crime involved in that one. Again, not a movie we've seen, or I've seen at least.
Yeah, I think I've seen part of it. I may have seen the remake, so.
Of course, Mr. Mac Poole brought up Harlem Nights. Eric Monroe brought up Snatch. Comedy? I'm thinking of Blow. Never mind, moving on.
So many drug movies.
3 generations of and here's where Mac just nails it down. 3 generations of comedy: Red Fox, Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy. It's a crime thriller and comedy. And
he's like, that's my final answer. No, Tim, not you.
And Cal suggested it's a good answer.
Yeah, the Ocean movies came up a lot from Cal and Janine.
Janine also said Nice Guys, but the comedy part doesn't necessarily fit.
Yeah, so again.
So it's really funny. The comedy part doesn't necessarily fit in this movie either.
It's labeled a comedy. Jeff had suggested it's a mad world. That was like one of our first guesses. No, Tim, no. You're not in the show. Kim was kind of hung up on the idea of the generation because that could mean so many different things.
It could mean literally like every 20 years, or it's like just 3 different ages of actors.
Yeah, and I think that's what really fit here with is the ages, because obviously some of them still had careers at the same time as each other. But
Honor, Prizzy's Honor. Nope, I don't know. Maybe. Nope.
I've heard of that movie, but I thought that was like a mob movie. Maybe
Never
it's a
have
mob
Corey.
comedy.
Well, this is a mob movie too.
Well, I know, but
Jeff,
comedy.
Of course, has his Mad World. And
I think Brian did a joke guess, but I think he quote tweeted it, so I'm not sure what it was.
Cal suggested Family Business as well. Ocean's 11 came up from Janine. Office Space. Let's see. We have.
Orlando Jones is in it. Is he stand-up?
Well, I think he probably was at one point.
Yeah.
And then I could see he's done stand-up before.
Has he?
I don't know.
I don't know.
And then Jeff also suggested Home Alone. It's definitely got 3 generations of actors in it. Wanda, I could see that. I could see some of these guys doing stand-up. And The Sting, I have never heard of that movie.
I know it's on Netflix.
It's got Paul Newman.
Yeah, there you go.
It's your picture, Jeff.
Yeah.
So
because Mac nailed it,
we're going to send him a little something.
Yes. Janine, who does all of our graphic design for the Tough channel, is in a contest right now where she is selling her Art Deco sticker where it's called Nubia.
It's the character from DC, I think.
Yes. And so we're going to get some of those, and those are going to be some prizes that we give out. And so, again, since Mac nailed it, he gets the first prize. But then next time, if nobody gets it, we'll just kind of randomly pick from everybody that guesses that's following us. And that's,
So, yeah. Is there anything else we're going to talk about?
I think we got everything.
I think we nailed it.
Yeah.
Sort of. Like, we missed a few times, and there's
yeah,
some
we're
things
still
in
learning.
the wood around.
Yeah,
but
still learning. But, hey, we got a lower third.
We do have a lower third.
I made it myself. But whatever.
But yeah, this has been another semi-successful episode of BFF Live. I'm Joe. You can find us on Twitter at these locations at the bottom. You can also find us at Geek to My Nerd, _ between each word. Oh my God, Atticus, you destroy anything.
He is running around like a little madman.
His eyes are almost completely pupil. That's been.
Oh, cats are so much fun. Anyway, we're going to go because in about 15 minutes, Odd Shape Panel over at Odd Shape Channel will be starting, and we'll be on there too.
Kimber, Tom, take it away. You can direct them to your show. Stop the episode.
Okay, this is so awkward.
That's the idea.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you for stopping in, everyone.